Hi there, Gemma here. I know the weather does not, well, I know my jacket suggests that it's very cold here, but it's actually not cold. It's not cold at all. I wish it was cold because now I feel rather stupid wearing this jacket. I only wore the jacket because, as you can see, it's very dull. And when it's dull in Scotland, um, it is usually very cold. But today, it's actually pleasant. It's mild weather. I didn't check the temperature, but I suspect the temperature is somewhere around what 16, 17, 18 degrees at centigrade or Celsius for those of you who measure your temperatures in Fahrenheit, which will probably be about late 60s, early 70s in Fahrenheit. Um, right, it's a very quick one. There's something that there's in my life I've had three sets of dreams of UFOs. The first one took place soon, not long after I got born again. The second one took place, I think, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, just before my wife passed. No, 2 years ago, because we were in a place called Trowbridge at the time I had that dream. No, I tell a lie. We were in Storrington. I tell a lie doesn't necessarily mean I'm lying, just a British thing of saying, oh, I'm wrong. Right? So I'm not telling a lie, okay? The second one was in a place called Storrington, where we stayed for about a year while we were in England. And the third one took place 2 days ago. The reason why I'm sharing this, I haven't shared the previous ones before, but the reason why I'm sharing this one is because I'm increasingly convinced that our time here is coming to an end, and these guys, these UFOs, are increasing in their manifestations. They're increasing in their numbers. They're increasing in their experiences in this life. As in, people, there's more sightings of them, and people need to. People, especially believers, need to understand these things a bit. And what I'll do is I'll tag along this video. There's a message called "The Return of the Nephilim" by a chap, a preacher, who's departed to be with the Lord now, called Chuck Missler, and he did an excellent work on this subject. It's quite long, but very enjoyable. Honestly, it is very enjoyable and it's very insightful, and it's definitely worth watching and listening to and learning from. There's a huge amount of material on this subject. Unfortunately, a lot of it is disinformation. A lot of it is people being mischievous, or in some cases, people not really understanding what's going on. But I want to speak about this from a Christian point of view. But before I do that, I'm going to speak about this particular one. The first one, I should say, the entities, the UFOs, the unidentified flying objects, actually came in like balloons, as in from a distance they look the size of big balloons. And when I talk about balloons, I'm not talking about the ones that people use for fun and play and so on. I'm talking about the ones that people travel in, or do a bit of a sightseeing or survey of the ground from the air. It's that size of balloon I'm referring to. And they came in with that size. That was my first time seeing this. This was years and years ago, maybe 15, 20, perhaps even 25 years ago. I don't remember exactly now. This was before I even started looking into the whole subject of UFOs. But they came in from the sea and they approached the mountains, which is interesting because I was in Nigeria at the time and there was no place like this where there were seas and approaching mountains. That, interestingly, that feels more like this part of the world rather than Nigeria where I grew up. So that was the first one, and I just had this distinct impression that these were UFOs in the dream. Okay. The second one was I was outside in a place called Worthing, down south in England, and all of a sudden I could hear screaming and pandemonium, and people were running helter skelter, and I looked and I saw UFOs coming, and people being initially, if I remember very well, they were initially like looking in awe and wonder, and then something happened. I don't know or remember precisely what, but something happened, and people started screaming, and people started running, and it was there was pandemonium. I recognized one person in the dream. I will not mention his name here, but I recognized one person in the dream who was a former colleague of mine, interestingly, who lives in that same place called Worthing. And I remember saying to him, I told you about this before. I told you about this before. And then that dream ended. Now, sorry, I cannot go into verbose detail about both dreams because I don't remember a lot of them. In the past, I did not record these things quickly, and I'm learning to be different now. However, 2 days ago, I had another one, and I don't ask for these things. I'm not the dreaming type. What I mean by I'm not the dreaming type, I tend not to get plenty of quote unquote prophetic dreams. I don't get plenty. But when I get them, I typically recognize that this thing is out of the blue, it's out of the ordinary. And this one happened, I believe, was it 2 days ago or was it even yesterday? It could have been yesterday. I don't remember too well. It was either yesterday or the day before yesterday. I think it was yesterday actually. I think it was yesterday. But what happened in this case is that I was in the office and it was dark outside. There were other people in the office. So this tells me that this was somewhere in the autumn/winter period. The reason I say autumn/winter period is because in the summer, when most people are in the office, it's usually daylight everywhere. In the winter/autumn months, because darkness falls quicker, especially up here in Scotland, that's the reason why I came to the conclusion that it was autumn/winter. I could be wrong about this, but this happened autumn/winter. Or rather, I think it happened autumn/winter in the context of the dream. But essentially, somebody said, oh, look, there's a UFO outside. And I quickly ran to a window and I looked, and lo and behold, there was this massive protrusion of a disc-shaped silvery object outside of the office. You could just see it, because you're looking from the inside out. The windows are shut, but you're trying to peer through the window. So through the window, based on your eye line, you can see the protrusion of the disc-like object off the roof of the building. So we're talking about a pretty tall building, maybe about, well, when I say pretty tall, not that high, maybe about 4 or 5 stories high, but you can see the protrusion of the disc above. This thing was massive, right? It was massive, silvery color of some kind, but kind of bevel shaped at the edges, big. It was big enough that in looking at the protrusion, the part of it that protruded was about as wide as like half the office space area, and I'm talking about these modern open plan type offices. So maybe about, oh gosh, I'm at an airfield now, so let's see, maybe about the size of, if you can see the pitch. So if you can imagine, this is a football pitch, and what you're looking at here is the penalty area, and this is the goalie's area. Man, goalkeepers, they do a lot of hard work. If you think about it, a goalkeeper has to cover this much ground. Let me show you. So it starts here, and then I'm walking. Goalkeeper is still covering this area. Walking. This is called the 6-yard box. And the goalkeeper has to cover this much area, but the goal itself is not this big. It maybe occupies half that distance, right? Hopefully I recorded that and things didn't go sideways in that respect. But the part that I saw protruding was from that corner there to this corner here. So this corner that we see where they usually would take a corner kick. Let me run because I'm not very good at dimensions. So or describing dimensions. So maybe somewhere in the region of about 80 to 100 feet was what I saw protruding from the side of the building, and it was a bit scary. But because I also knew what was going on with these UFOs in terms of who they really are, because many people think they're extraterrestrial beings, they're beings from other planets, we should be making contact with them, and so on. There was some element of disclosure, and I know there's been elements of disclosure, soft disclosure in recent times in the press. The British Ministry of Defense has been releasing information. Apparently the CIA is beginning to release information. Well, not the CIA as such, but the Navy, the US Navy has apparently started releasing information. I think the US Air Force as well. I'm not too sure. But the point is, because of the soft disclosure, people were kind of like getting involved with them and so on, and going to like trying to make contact and the rest. And then there was a landing. There were several landings actually, and then creatures came out, and people were like going to meet them and shaking hands and so on. And I was like warning people that this is not good. This is not good. You should take off now. You should take off now. This is not good. Now, I'm not saying you should be scared of them, but I'm just simply telling you what happened in the dream. And then, I don't know precisely what the transition was like or what caused the transition, but next thing, it's pandemonium. People are screaming, people are running, people are barging into each other. It's pandemonium. And again, like I said, it's at night. Now, these three dreams, I feel like are God's warning that these guys, they are coming. Now, if you watch, there's a certain channel called Mr. MBB 333. My wife used to watch them back in the day. Every now and again, I'll see his videos pop up, and a friend of mine, Caroline, watches them. In fact, one of the video I'm going to tack onto this one, well, two videos I'm going to tack onto this one, Chuck Missler's work on the return of the Nephilim, and then where he treats the UFO subject very well, and one of Mr. MBB 333's latest videos where he shows UFOs printing effectively Morse code in the sky, and it's almost like it's trying to tell us a message. I might find the original video and see if I can interpret the Morse code, because Morse code interpretation is pretty straightforward. I don't know Morse code. I'll need to go learn it. But what I'm saying is that it shouldn't be difficult to learn. But the reason why I'm doing this is to document this, but to also tell believers that these things, they are real. This is not science fiction. This is real. And by the time you watch the video with regard to Chuck Missler, you will realize that the people who are behind these UFOs are not extraterrestrial beings, but they're extra-dimensional beings. They are not beings from other planets. These are fallen angels and demonic entities that God has cast out of heaven, and because the church is still here, they have not come full force on the planet. I genuinely believe that as soon as the rapture takes place, as soon as the church is gone away from here, this is something that a friend of mine, CC, and I talk about a lot. As soon as the church is gone, they are going to come down. Personally, I think these guys, they are chomping at the bit. They are ready to come down. And if you look at what the Bible says in Revelation chapter 12, when it talks about the battle that raged in heaven, the one that people have subsequently dubbed the Revelation 12 sign, you'll see that at some point, the angels who lost the battle, they are cast down to the earth, because space was not found for them in heaven anymore. And I believe the heaven that the Bible is talking about is not so much the throne of God or the throne room of God, but rather the sky. Because the Bible refers to the sky as the heavens. This video is being sent out as part documentation, part warning. These guys, they are coming. These guys are coming. You need to understand now what they really are, because when they come, there are many Christians who will lose. Take that back. There are many people, perhaps maybe including Christians, or depending on when they come back, who could end up losing their confidence in what they have believed up till then, because they always believed that these were works of science fiction or beings from other planets, not realizing these are the same fallen angels that the Bible tells us and warns us about all the time. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm not very good at recounting my dreams, but I just felt you needed to know that. Take care. God bless you. Bye.